Susie Sausage Head.
So, let me tell y'all about the time Susie Sausage Head was getting ready for a blind date. Her roommate had insisted that Susie meet her platonic guy friend. The roommate sang the guy friend's praises and went on and on about how much of a great guy he is. The roommate went further to list off all the commonalities between Susie and the guy friend and how much the two were perfect for one another. Susie knew that her roommate was going to such great lengths because Susie was not excited about this date. Not only because Susie felt like she didn't need anyone's help getting a date, but because she didn't trust her roommate's judgment. Susie's roommate didn't have any friends, acquaintances, fellow travelers, or even well-wishers that Susie cared to see more than once. Still, Susie Sausagehead was experiencing a drought in her love life and figured that during this storm, any port was better than none. She had already made it up in her mind that she was going to hug and kiss him in a special way after their date. Susie was eager to end her self-imposed celibacy and see what the guy friend was working with. She really wasn't looking for long-term now, just someone to have fun with occasionally. Susie finalized her date preparations and went downstairs to pregame with libations and flour. Soon the roommate's guy friend arrived at the house and Susie was not disappointed. He was tall, handsome, and well-dressed. Heck, he even arrived with flowers. Susie was suddenly glad that she'd agreed to the date. Susie Sausagehead and the guy friend headed out of the house and to his car. They drove to an outdoor eatery for street food and talked while they ate. The two of them then went to the lake and walked the trail while talking and getting to know each other better. Susie had to admit that her roommate was right. They did have a lot in common with each other. Susie found the guy friend easy to be around and talk to. She didn't have to try hard with him. Everything just flowed, and she anticipated that the hugging and kissing in a special way she had planned for them later would follow in the same direction. Heck, it might be even better. With this in mind, Susie took her guy friend's hand and suggested that they head back to his place. The ride to his place was intense. The chemistry between Susie Sausagehead and the guy friend could not be contained, and they found themselves kissing, touching, rubbing, and exploring. They did all of this while the guy friend was actively operating his motor vehicle. While the vehicle was in motion, it was mostly Susie doing the work. But every red light was an opportunity for a guy friend to put in his own work. He was navigating his way home and operating on autopilot. The commute was a blur with the only clear recollections being passion and red lights. They took full advantage of his 5% tinted windows, and before they knew it, he was pulling into the driveway. Susie and her guy friend shared another tender moment before they tumbled out of the vehicle and raced to the front door. Once inside, they really got busy. Literally right there on the living room floor rug. This went on for a while as they worked their way to the bedroom and consequently covered the entirety of the house, including the kitchen, y'all. They hugged and kissed in a special way for hours and even continued in the shower after agreeing on an intermission. When they were done, Susie Sausagehead got dressed and headed home. She did not want to sleep at the guy friend's house, instead wanting to go home and talk to her roommate about her evening. When she did arrive home, her roommate was in the living room with another friend of hers, and as soon as Susie opened the door, they both started to tease Susie about her walk of shame. Susie was unashamed though. In fact, she was grateful and wanted to tell her roommate all about it. Susie got comfortable on the sofa and began to dish the details to the ladies. She gushed over how great the guy friend was and how much fun they'd had and how the roommate was right about him and how Susie really should learn to trust more. Everyone was laughing and the ladies all agreed that a love connection had indeed been made. Susie then went on to talk about how great the guy friend was at hugging and kissing in a special way. And as Susie was laying down the details, the roommate and her friend began to anticipate what Susie was going to say, as if both of them were familiar with his moves. Susie asked about this very peculiar detail and was then informed that both the roommate and her friend had previously hugged and kissed the guy friend in special ways. "Oh, but he's for you big time," they both said in unison. "You two are a much better match." Excuse me. The end.